Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue yesterday's concept. Yesterday we talked about tian, field, and which is a box and then cut into two pieces. That's a Chinese quadrant looking thing. That's the land lotting in China, meaning every household have their small government lotted piece of land. And that's how we associate that lotting practice with farm field. And here we have in simplified and traditionally look very different. The simplified version only have this one dot one on horizontal line on top of the land. And that, according to scholars, it means number 10. So we know in Chinese, number 10 is simply a cross sign. It has nothing to do with crucifixion. It simply is ancient roping technology. You tie a knot to mean it's number 10. So 10 farmland. Apparently, people try to count that. So that's end up as a Chinese acre because every country have their own sense of space, have their own unit of measurement. So this is a Chinese acre, which is equivalent to 666.666, basically 2/3 of 1,000 square meter. Wait, did I say it right? Square meter. So it's okay. Uh, 666.666 infinite square meters. Okay, that gives you the sense of the Chinese acre. That's the size. And this 10 farmland probably give you the sense of how it's measured, but the traditional got this backward walking thing feature. You see the leg here sticking backwards because Chinese are facing forward toward the left. So the thing, the whole, if you view it either as a shoe or person facing this way, then this pointer means it's going the other way backward walking. But in any case, it shows a type of walking. Probably in ancient times when you measure the distance without using a contemporary pretty, I don't know, is it an infrared red or some device you see people standing in the middle of a road trying to measure the distance. Before people have that kind of a tool to accurately measure the distance, we use our own body as a yardstick by making however many steps, right? And I guess backward walking could be used as, if we want to make it accurate, probably the distance you step on if you walk forward versus backward are different. Maybe we can make it a try. So here it's almost like a specify that you backward walking to a certain number of steps. According to ancient times measurement, this is 100 steps. And in ancient times, the ancient steps actually is made of two steps. So you step twice, both left foot and right foot. So in that sense, a Chinese step would be longer, guaranteed longer than the English concept of foot. Foot is a not moving size of grown person's foot length, right? That's a foot. It's a static, but Chinese is a dynamic. It's one foot placed in front of another. And we have both the right foot and the left foot at the bottom and the right foot on the top to show you the distance we're moving through space. And that's one step. And 100 of those would consider the distance of move. So I guess because it's a two-dimensional measurement, it gotta be like you walk on both dimensions. You walk forward and then toward any of the direction, 100 steps, that will be the square 100 steps would be Chinese acre. And 2,000 years ago, a script version of it is made of the Mei. It means the unit of something. And this unit of something paired with tian, it means the unit of farm field. And this unit is made of the mother symbol with its two nipples, breastfeeding, on top of this female body with hip curves and arms folded, that mother gave you the sense of that's the source, that's the things where it came from, right? And then on the top there is this kind of a plant symbol. So together it means the origin of the things growing, the mother plant almost. And we use that as a count of that's the individual. Hmm. Okay, now I'm just thinking probably this unit of something, how we can identify one entity from another, right? And it's the mother. Like you got to have this reproducing capacity, and then have the top here as a plant. So I guess if we pair it to look at the plant colonies, those mother plants, those would be considered a unit. And those, if without a reproducing capacity, they're the end of a line. You don't need to regard them as a separate entity, almost like they are just exist and gone. They don't have lineage or reproducing significance. My guess, okay, totally just came up. Okay, 良田几亩，良 fine farm or farm field, 几亩 some Chinese acre. Okay, C is simply simplified Chinese acre. 良田几亩 is almost like a it's the ancient Chinese dream. So if American dream in today's lingo or standard would be independent family house, okay, with your white picket fences, with your house away from the neighbors, right? You have your own yard, all that. That's the ideal if in today's American life. In ancient Chinese, it would be 良田几亩, like you have a fine farm field, meaning they are still pretty well fertile, and you can use that farmland to feed your family. 几亩, not much, just a few. So 几亩, almost like for Chinese, if I say 几亩, it means under 10. For me, it's not a large number. And so just as I said, it's a 666 square meter. And if you have several of those, that would be enough in ancient Chinese standard to be ideal dream life. Okay. 亩产万斤, so again, this Chinese acre produce 万斤, 10,000. Okay, 10,000 is a Chinese infinity almost, because that to ancient scale before we have this digital world that introduced such giant number units to our lives. Life was simple and a smaller scale before, right? So 10,000 already is like, it's uncountable. Like for our 10 fingers and 10 toe, like 20, that's a big number already. A huge numbers, it became unrelatable. So 10,000 in Chinese concept is like infinity. And jin is another Chinese regional unit of measurement of weight. So I said Chinese kilogram. So roughly 1 jin convert to 500 or half, 0.5 kilogram. So it's a 500 grams is equivalent of Chinese jin. Okay. 亩产万斤 was, well, in today's standard would be a scam. But back then it was probably for survival, because there was a period of China less than 100 years ago. It's in the 1950s and 60s. When the Chinese government just came into power, they didn't really know how to run a country. They know how to get a country, but they don't know how to run. So to run the country, how to get a farming activity, because that's the food security. That's the number one thing to get it right. And a few episodes ago, we talked about how they convert a whole troop of, prime year men to cultivate a piece of land as farmland in North China. And here is farming nationwide, how to get that right. So for their, I guess, hybrid, is that the word? Of for the government, they want to hear big numbers. So there was this incentive to announce how much you can produce per Chinese acre. And some different regions, different local government, because it's hard to validate. I guess back then, still, it's hard to send people out there to check the actual number. Um, and so different local regional governments try to report that, try to outbeat everybody how much they can produce on their land of that region under their government of local government, that they can produce up to 100,000 Chinese kilograms, which is a ridiculous number. It's unscientific, but it's political correct back then. So it became a joke several decades, how many decades? 70 decades later or 60 decades later to hear that. But it was serious business, and people say it straight face and printed on papers back then. So today's standards is all fake news, but back then it was political necessity to survive in that environment. So there you go. 母, thank you for your time. See you another day.